as well my comrade over there. And I don't want to tell my comrade sister's age, but she knows how old she is.
Yeah.
But see, it's up to folks like you to go out and do these things. And the other thing is that we didn't just start a breakfast program because we said, we want a breakfast program.
Right.
We used to have to study 2 hours a day, and we had to go to a political education twice a week, because Huey said we had to do an analysis of our community. And so when we did an analysis of our community, we saw that kids were going to school hungry in the morning because their mothers and fathers couldn't afford to feed them. They didn't have money to put food on the table, and the school wasn't feeding them.
Right.
And you get these kids get into school and try to learn on a hungry stomach. And so we started what we called survival programs. And they were labeled survival programs pending revolution. So the end goal was revolution. The end goal was not to feed kids. The end goal was revolution. Give them food so they can learn and grow and become revolutionaries, so they'll overthrow this mother. They'll get me started cussing.
Right.
Because that's what we have to keep an eye on the end goal. And so all those programs that we started were not just to have a program here and a program there, but these were helping people survive pending revolution. When we looked in the community in Seattle, the black community, the CD, and saw that the second highest infant mortality rate in the whole state was in that one little plot of land in the CD. And so how does that happen? Because we don't have access to health care. So we went and found a white doctor, Dr. John Green, who said, what y'all gonna do? He said, we want a clinic. So he appropriated all the equipment we needed from the university to the hospital, had it back of the truck in front of it, at the back of the hospital, and with the door open, all the stuff we needed was there.
Right.
And we loaded it in the truck, and then he staffed our clinic with third and fourth year black medical students who became doctors working in our clinic.
Right.
And the very first clinic we started was a well baby clinic, so that pregnant mothers, could have the prenatal care and the after birth care that they needed, so that their babies would be healthy and stay alive. Because we were facing then as we are facing now. We are facing genocide. Genocide in the black community has been planned, just like it was planned in the Native American community, and they got them all on reservations. And so it's been planned throughout our community. And so there are enough issues that you as a young man can look around and say, you can do your own analysis. The gang issue, because that's planned. That's premeditated. They flooded our community with drugs. Then they flooded our community with weapons. We don't make guns, and we certainly don't manufacture the drugs. Those have been planted in our community. And so that's a process that has been happening as they eliminated leaders in the Black Panther Party. That's how when they killed Bunchy and John in L.A. Bunchy used to be head of the largest gang in Southern California, the Slossons. And they were afraid to death that those 5,000 gang members were going to become revolutionaries. So they murdered him very quickly in January of 1969. I was at his funeral. And they did that because they were systematically eliminating leaders of the Panthers. And then the guy who started the Crips and Bloods, he was interviewed in a documentary called The Fire Next Time. He said that after the Panther leadership was wiped out, he said the young brothers and sisters didn't know who to look up to for leadership. So they started splintering into these smaller gangs. One of them was, I think it was the Crips or the Bloods. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the Bloods. It was the Bloods. And so he said one evening in the rail yards in Watts, there's rail yards that run through Watts. And he said that people that operated the rail yards knew that you never left any merchandise in the rail cars because, brothers was coming out of the hood and looking to grab their TV or a piece of furniture. And so they never left any furniture and left any goods in there. He said one Saturday night, the cars pulled in the rail yard, stopped, and they would just stop there on the track. And so what the brothers in the community did, so what's in the cars? Because usually they open them up and there's nothing in there. So they went and looked, opened them up, and in those cars were every kind of weapon you could ever think of. AK-47, M16. Come on. They're going to leave all the weapons in the middle of the hood. And then he said that the next few cars had all the ammunition for them. They deliberately, and at that same time they were flooding the community with drugs. So that whole thing was a setup to annihilate a whole generation. And we still got people out here killing each other. You see, one of the Panther Cubs, we call them Panther Cubs that are kids of Panther, is Fred Hampton Jr., who spoke at our 50th anniversary last year. Fred Hampton Jr. is the son of the murdered no, he wasn't captain. He was chairman, co-chairman of the Illinois State Chapter of the Black Panther Party in Chicago. And so he was murdered through an FBI agent who drew a diagram of his apartment, fed him Seconal the night before the pigs came, and they murdered him while he was still sleeping. He couldn't even get up. And so in fact, he was lying next to his mother in his mother's belly when Fred was murdered. So Fred Hampton Jr. has a gang unit and trying to organize those gangs in Chicago to get them to stop killing each other. And he's about your age. And so it's the young brothers and sisters your age that need to do an analysis of the community and stop this genocide, because it continues. So it ain't us. It's we set the stage and laid the legacy out there. You guys take what you can from our legacy and go out there and organize in the community. Don't wait for us to start a new Black Panther Party, because it ain't happening. There's some fools running around calling themselves a new Black Panther Party, but they have no association to us.
No, it is a lot of work that still needs to be done in the community, and there's not enough people like working with the gangs and working with the families and giving the kids hope.
Katrina, we used to have one of the sayings we had in the Black Panther Party was, use what you got to get what you need.
Right.
Let me call you back in a minute. So, we didn't talk about enough people. How many people were in our office? That's how many live there? 8 to 9 to 10. See, we had a small, tight-knit cadre, 8, 9 of us, and then we had, the other Panthers that worked in the programs, maybe another handful, maybe 20. And then we had community mothers that cooked in the breakfast program. Your mom.
My mom.
Your mom. Your mom. And see,
looking for one of the Black Panthers, my mother that was hiding.
hiding in the basement.
Yeah.
See,
I was helping her hide them.
See,
I go to the door and
there's
they
enough
look at
people.
me. I'm too young.
There's always enough people.
Yeah.
You just need to figure out how to get access to them. So don't worry about I ain't got enough of this, I ain't got enough of that. The people are still asking, how'd you feed all 2,000 kids a week?
Yeah.
We aren't getting no government money. We out there hustling.
Yeah.
Because we knew how to hustle.
Amen.
See, we grew up in a hustle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We knew how to hustle.
Thelma, what year is this? They did the breakfast program.
We started our first breakfast program in Seattle in 1969.
Okay. And what year was it they had the free health clinics before Planned Parenthood?
Our free clinic opened its first door in January of 1970.
1970.
And before WIC, which is the current day infant and mothers program,
Oh yeah,
your program was happening, and then they spun off of it with the WIC program.
that's right. Yeah, we predated all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys get credit for that, because I've read some recent material, and even the government's talking about the WIC program that was a spin-off of the Black Panther program.
So what we'd like to do, while we still have our photographers here, is hear some breakfast program stories about your experiences, the food that you ate, and what happened when you were there, and what happened when we ran you out the door to make sure you got to school on time. Pick up a donut on the way out the door, we drop you off. So I don't know who would like to start your experience in the breakfast program. Yep, here we go.
Okay, so we live in Lower Holly Park, right there on Martin Luther King Lane. And I was, going to Brighton Elementary School. And because my mother was one of the
So introduce yourself, give us your name and everything. So.
Okay, so my name is Sonoria Belt, B-E-L-T, Allen, A-L-L-E-N. when I was young, we came here in 1969,
How old were you?
July. I was 9.
Okay.
The riots were happening up on Yesler. We got off the airplane and came here, and we were housed at Webster Court at that time. My brothers and I were put into a program for behavior analysis in Brighton because East Coast is different than West Coast. And we were accustomed to taking what we wanted. So if you had a coat on and we thought we wanted it, we were used to the hustle to say, give me the coat, because it's mine now. We didn't understand no. No doesn't mean you can't have it. No means there's a new fight getting ready to happen. So we had to go into a program at Brighton Elementary School. But you were right, we didn't have a lot of food. So we would leave Lower Holly Park, go up to Van Assel, and my mother would be there ahead of us. And she would be cooking the eggs and the bacon and the toast. And you had a choice of, you can have the eggs or the bacon or all of it. And, I was like, I got to get back down to school because I was in choir at the time. And so I had to be there at 7. So my day started at 5 in the morning as a little kid, 9 years old. 9 years old, traveling down on the freeway right here on Martin Luther King to get to Brighton Elementary School.
Wasn't it called Martin Luther King back then?
It was Empire Way.
It was Empire Way then.
Okay.
Right.
Empire Way. So then I remember that program, and I was struggling to learn math. And so you all had that tutor program. At the end of the day, I would go back up to Van Assel, and in one of the houses, there was a tutor there. And the choice was, you get to utilize the tutor or you be dumb forever. So I utilized the tutor. So one of the great things about where I am today as a result, and I'm very grateful for the Black Panther movement, I learned a lot in terms of struggle, in terms of survival. I have 8 licenses, I'm a bachelor's degree, I'm a social worker, and there is not an organization that I belong to, but anyone who needs any resource or information comes through me. I will tell them about my experience with the Black Panther movement. You don't have to be a militant to understand what the movement was all about. And so until this day, that is where my legacy begins. From DC to Washington, the state. So that's my story.
Right.
Her name was Rose.
Let's get her next. Yep,
Rose
you're next.
Okay. So I'm 5 years younger than her. So my memory, I'm Myrna Bell. I was raised in Hardy Park from age 4 till my exit day was 1997 when the identification started. And we grew up right off of Empire Way, 7519 Empire Way. And I just remember as a 4-year-old, my mom used to work up at the gym. We used to go up there for breakfast with my little brother because he went to school there. And I just remember women, and there was a whole bunch of tables with us kids, 4, 3, 5 years old. And I just see pancakes, eggs, we even had oatmeal. And I think that's why I like oatmeal today, because that's the first place I ever had it. And it was juice and milk, and the workers were so friendly. My mom was always in the back, and she'll come out and check. And then there was other parents that we also grew up with that was in the kitchen helping with the kids and stuff, and that's, I remember that. And then I remember the free lunch program. We lived in Webster Court, and if I'm correct, we had sack lunches. Yeah, the free breakfast program is, my memory is not all that for, but yeah, I do remember Mr. Elmer Dixon from the free lunch program. I remember the Black Panthers being around the neighborhood with their guns and their militants, at 4 years old, and I'm so thankful that we had this organization in our community.
No, I'm too young, man. I don't remember the breakfast
Okay,
program.
let's get to
Now, I did get some of them sack lunches that, that started doing that, but,
So I had the pleasure of
cooking with Elmer for breakfast, and then he would take us to school. So I know how to cook to this very day. I can cook to save everybody's life up in here. The potatoes with the cheese, and the eggs with the cheese, and the juice, and the toast. And in the morning, it would be an assembly line. You put all the bread on a long tray, and then you take it and put that butter all on it. I mean, you were cooking for a lot of people. And the thing back then, parents didn't have enough money for the food stamps to really last for the whole month. And even in this day, in this time, they give people almost $200. That's what one person gets, and it's still not enough money. You still have to use food banks or figure it out or something, or spend some money. And so you had to be creative, and I just thank Elmer for that program. It wasn't just that he fed us, giving us that fuel in the morning to go to school and to be great students. I mean, he took us to school, and they didn't always have a bus in our area. So, I mean, you can basically miss the breakfast program, but catch a ride and get to school. I mean, but now if you made the breakfast program, you got a 2-for-1, and that made a great difference. And today, I still do different things to give back to the community and stuff like that, but it's because of Elmer having people like that around in my life and things like that.
What about your homework?
Okay, now my homework, I did my homework. I was an excellent student,
But did we make sure when you got on the bus that you had your homework done?
I had to have my homework done. I had to be organized. I have some different degrees to this very day. I have a paraeducator in bilingual studies. I have a BA in early childhood education. I have a CDA. I have a
CDA, what is that? Certified.
It's a special endorsement for preschool, and then I have K through 12, which I'm qualified to be a paraeducator if I want to be. And then I was recently doing the funeral service student program. And so, like, today as an adult, I am still experiencing racism. It's still alive. And they don't want us to get anywhere. It's like your teachers, they tell you things like, I allow you to sit in the front. I had to tell this man, you don't allow me to sit anywhere. I sit here because nobody else wants to sit here. I sit here because my accommodations say I can sit here. And so we're still caught up in the fight. We are still caught up in the struggle.
And who's we?
We are we the people. So my address was 3902 South Webster Court, and it said power to the people. And back then, I didn't understand the work that Elmer did and all that he had to do to make that program work day after day. And recently I asked him, I said, how did you do all that every day? And it takes working with the community and knocking on enough doors and having people behind you saying, I'm gonna help you, saying, I'll buy these newspapers and everything. But we still got a ways to go. And the name of my funeral home business is gonna be All Davison Jones. And I'm gonna be putting in a lot of work with the community and everything, because they wanna see you giving back. That's what the taxpayers, everybody has to do something in the community, and that's what I'd rather do. I want to stop all the violence and people killing themselves, because in the summertime we have a high death rate here. And
Where?
here in Washington, from the south end to the central area to all over
In Seattle.
in Seattle, and we have to stop killing each other, and we have to educate ourselves and educate each other and help each other and say, hey brothers, you can do this, you can make it. Because just like you said, people are still killing themselves to this very day, because somehow along the way they gave up. And this is not a time that you give up. It's a time to keep on going. Matter of fact, you better step on the gas, because the people are already set up to take us out. They don't want us to get anywhere. And then sometimes people in your own community are trying to pull you down, and you have to fight against all of that too. And so the fight is never over, and you continue to fight. Now, Emerald talked about my homework. So in high school, I got tired of going to high school. I never flunked any classes, and so I ended up graduating in the class of 82 with Myrna, but I was really supposed to be the class of 83. So I had to pay my dues, and I paid them. But you have to always have a dream and a goal and know that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. And we always got to work toward our dreams and our goals, even when you don't see them. And then supporting other people. And Mario was in our group, and I thank him for working with the group for a number of years, doing the Holly Park reunion program and everything, because it always takes a group of people, and it's a lot of work that gets put on the group of people, because everybody don't like to help. They want to talk, or they want to come party and eat for that one day, but the behind the scenes, it's a lot of work. So
This is an element of each one teaching one. Like,
Yes, it is. Each
we have
one
one
teach one.
generation in Mario. He's